Yo guys, welcome back again today. And today we're going to be talking about Ororo, or better known as Storm. Ororo was born in Harlem, New York, USA. Her father was David Munroe, an African American and a local photographer in Harlem, while her mother, Nadare, was an African princess from Kenya. Ororo would have white hair when she was born, and this was due to her mother being descendant of an ancient line of African priestess who all had white hair. Nadare would move to America to be with David, but soon wanted to leave America due to the racism she saw towards African Americans in the States. She would beg David to take a job back in Africa in Cairo, Egypt, and soon he would agree. Soon Ororo and her parents would move back to Africa. When the family arrived, Ororo was only 7 months old. She would live with her family, learning and having a peaceful life until the age of 5. A conflict arose between Egypt and Israel, as well as the British and the French, whom were backing Israel over Egypt nationalizing a canal in 1956. During this conflict, a plane from the Israel forces crashed into Ororo's home. Ororo would be buried under rubble, and when she arose from the rubble, she would find her mother's body not far from hers. She would soon be shocked to see her mother was lifeless, and her father killed as well from the plane crash. This shocking event would traumatize her and be a weakness in the future. Claustrophobia would be an enemy of Ororo for the rest of her life. She would manage to escape the wrecked home with torn clothing and her mother's ancestral ruby. She would go on to roam the streets of Cairo for weeks begging for food, but soon she would be found by a street gang and was took to their master, Ahmed el-Jabbar. He would train Ororo in the arts of thievery, pickpocketing, and picking locks. She would go on to become the most important and talented pupil of Ahmed. One day while looking for her next victim, Ororo would try to pick the pockets of an American tourist. This man would not be an easy target. This was due to the man being Charles Xavier, one of the most powerful mutants in the world. Charles Xavier's power was the power of telepath, and he used his abilities to stop Ororo from picking his pocket. Almost being caught by Charles Xavier, Ororo escaped due to another mutant attacking Charles Xavier psychopathically in his mind at the very moment he was targeting Ororo. The attacker was named Amal Farouk, or better known as the Shadow King. Charles Xavier would go on to win the mind battle. Soon after, Ororo and 2 other kids would be instructed that they were to do a job for a client. Ahmed took the 3 to a man, and Ororo was hired to steal an artifact from an Egyptian tomb. While in a tomb, Ororo and Ahmed would see a stone mural that showed stories and pictures that seemed to tell of Ororo's life and future. Soon after coming out the tomb, the man who hired Ororo would pop up in flames, stating that her master could not hear her now. This man said he was here to resurrect his master, Apocalypse, which was an ancient mutant which was around at the beginning of the human civilization. Snatching the jewel he was after from Ororo, he would fire into the opening of the tomb and bury her and the other kids. Ororo, being claustrophobic, she would panic, and this would trigger her mutant powers. Wind would start to swiftly move and lightning coming down from the skies. At the time, she didn't know what happened, and once freed, all the thieves and Ahmed would fight the man of fire and stopped him as well. This would stop the resurrection of Apocalypse and saving the world. After the battle, Ororo would stand in the desert with her master and told Ahmed that she had a feeling to explore Africa after seeing the pillars within the tomb. Ahmed would hug her and say he had taught her all he knows, and that if she wished to leave, she should. Soon after, Ororo would wander south, leaving Cairo, Egypt. She would encounter many dangers, joys, and growth while traveling Egypt and Africa. Being a naive girl, she would accept a ride from a stranger one day and was also almost raped, but she would go on to kill this man in the process. She would then vow never to take a life again, and while wandering thousands of miles across the Sahara Desert, she would almost die many times. During this time, her mutant abilities to control the weather would slowly improve, and she even learned to command the wind and fly. She would use them to save T'Challa, the prince of the African nation of Wakanda. T'Challa was kidnapped and Ororo would save him. Soon after, they would spend time with each other and be very attracted to each other as well. Though this would not last long due to T'Challa, or soon to be the next Black Panther, having to return to his nation for duties as prince. Ororo would continue throughout Africa until she reached her mother's homeland in Kenya in the Serengeti Plains. She would be taken in by the tribe's elder woman, Inet. Inet would take care of Ororo until she was a young adult. Due to her powers, local tribes would begin to worship her as a god. She would soon after run into another mutant called Deluge, who was also a weather manipulator. Deluge wanted revenge on humanity, but was stopped by Ororo and a group of mutant heroes known as the X-Men. After this battle, she would return back to the Great Plains, while the X-Men told their leader, Charles Xavier, about the mutant named Ororo. Professor X would go on to call her Storm, and told his mutant students that he didn't want to contact her at the time, shocking her from his face. This could unlock the true potential of her powers and be very, very dangerous. Months later, Professor X would contact Storm and tell her she was not a god, but a mutant. He would then explain he wanted her to join the X-Men to help defeat a living island and save some of his students that were the previous X-Men. After defeating the living island and serving with the team for several years, Storm became the leader of the X-Men. Storm would go on to lose her powers and gain them back, fight many top-level mutant villains, and be abducted by an alien race. Storm's primary source of energy is the Earth's electromagnetic field. She is stated to be a Omega-level mutant, which is the most powerful type of mutant. Her weakness is claustrophobia, making her concentration off at times. Her abilities consist of weather manipulation, modifying temperatures of environments, control of precipitation, atmospheric pressure, tornadoes, thunderstorms, blizzards, hurricanes, mist, and dissipate weather from clear skies. She is also able to pick locks, an escape artist, very experienced with hand-to-hand combat, capable shooter with handguns, and she can fly at subsonic speeds. Storm can be very dangerous when emotional as well. Too emotional, and she could cause an elemental explosion that equals the same power of a small star within our galaxy. So yo guys, today we learned about Storm, also known as Ororo. As always, please like and subscribe. Turn on your bell notification down there so you'll always get my videos. I've also noticed that around 80% of people that watch my videos don't subscribe. So if you're new here, please subscribe. And also check out the merchandise down there. We're going to have new merchandise every month. So it's just going to keep adding on. And always follow me on all social media, which is Afric Network, which is Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, SoundCloud, and Facebook. Each one teach one. Always love each other. Always learn from each other. Always try to be diplomatic with each other. And yo guys, until next time, peace. One love.